You want God, you go through us. And this is when we get into big trouble and where we see tough spiritual wounds and where we see people walk away, not just from a religion, but from a relationship with God. Hello, we are talking about spirituality. And for a lot of people, when you say spirituality, they think religion. And religion is a logical place to go from the word spirituality. What is religion? Religion is intended to be a servant to spirit. It's intended to bring people closer to God. Now, where religion goes wrong is where it, instead of facilitating a person's personal, private, unrepeatable relationship with God that they have in every moment of their life and that they are divinely entitled to, religion can get too big for its boots and conceal God from people. It can say, you want God, you go through us. And this is when we get into big trouble and where we see tough spiritual wounds and where we see people walk away, not just from a religion, but from a relationship with God. Now, God doesn't want that. God neither wants people walking away from a relationship with Him, nor does God want people distorting Him and calling it religion. The problem we have, the tension we must bear together, is that even if a structure is intended to point to the divine, it is facilitated by human beings who will make mistakes. Now, is this a reason to get rid of all structures and stop with religions? No, it's not. It's a reason, rather, to renew religion all the time. Every faith family must be in a constant state of renewal, must be checking itself and ensuring that the goals are being met, not the human goals, but the goals of God, the divine goals for His people. So now, in the Christian tradition, we really have an excellent precedent for people getting it wrong and distorting God for their own benefits, as in the Pharisees. They transformed religion into a power structure from which they could lord it over people who weren't involved in the structure. They could oppress people. They could manipulate them. They could distort God for their own purposes and get money. There are a lot of people who recognize that Pharisaic expression and despise it like Christ. But now let's take another story. So that deliberate intent to defraud people, to play mind games with them, and to subject them to oppression. That's one thing. But let's go a little lighter than that, and let's talk about something less sinister. Let's talk about the mistakes that can be made by human beings. Okay, so now in our Catholic faith, our faith was founded on Peter, our rock, our Saint Peter. We recognize and acknowledge him as a saint. So during his life and his life in ministry with Christ, how did he do? What kind of a report card would St. Peter get? Straight A's? I don't think so. St. Peter had some obvious tumbles and fumbles and falls from grace. He made mistakes. And at one point, with the apostles, we hear the Lord saying, how long must I put up with you? I mean, imagine, he's trying so hard to communicate to them something bigger. And they keep hauling it down to the ground. and imposing their human thinking on it, trying to, let's say, make it smaller. Christ keeps pulling it back up to his Father. They keep hauling it down to the ground, make it smaller. So that was his challenge, really, was to hold his position, that your mind is not the one you're representing. Certainty, largely, is not something you're going to be able to enjoy if you're following me. So what evidence do we have that Peter, in his imperfection, stumbled and fumbled and caused problems for the Lord in his training? Well, we see, let's say, the Lord references the suffering that's coming for him, and Peter says, no, there's a way around this. We can get around this. Here's what we do. And the Lord says, get behind me, Satan. Get behind me, Satan. And that had to startle Peter, I would think. But what he was saying there is, you're representing the enemy of the plan, not the father of the plan. So that was Peter's thinking. And that was Peter's reprimand. And it was a strong one. It wasn't just, take it easy on this and go a little heavier on this. No, it was a, get behind me, Satan. He wanted it clear. The Father's plan will include suffering. And if you can't handle it, you're on the wrong team.